Good morning and welcome to the February 2nd, 2023 meeting for the Dickson County Commission. Would you please stand and join in the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We do not have anything to add to the agenda or delete, so I would move that we approve the agenda as printed.
I'll second it.
We have the motion and the second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The consent agenda includes the minutes of the January 26th meeting. Also payroll of $373,164.90. Utilities, $26,061.39. Then we also had a special check of $73,007.
I move to approve the consent agenda. Second it.
We have the motion and a second for approval of the consent agenda. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Commission comments, Ron.
Just want to comment that I'm kind of glad we got a little bit of moisture. It's up a little bit for us.
Okay, Craig.
Yeah, I'm discussing a little earlier with our county attorney and Janelle about UTVs and being on the roadway and with liability and stuff, and trying to find out who's responsible, what the exact licensing would have to be out on the roads and stuff. And I've had the same conversation with people who live up my part of the county, township people, the Amish, the horse and buggies out on the road, what's the liability there and stuff. That's all I have, man.
Okay.
Thank you.
So earlier today, Derek was in here on environmental services and talked about some of the township spraying. Jeannie, also our clerk, gave us an update on her department. We reviewed the comp plan with Tim Hamilton, and he answers some of the questions on that updated plan, and that's something that's on the agenda. We also visited the appraiser's office, and we had some time between work study and the regular session, and we had discussed it earlier that, randomly we might just walk through the courthouse and maybe stop in one of the offices and really I was very impressed. I mean, it's so orderly in there. Had a chance to visit with a few of the people that have started working at the appraiser's office just within this past year. They seem very enthused and knowledgeable, and the appraiser's office, I mean, it's certainly one of the important functions, and often people do have questions, and that's kind of the go-to place for that, or if there's any appeals. And then Lisa Berg mentioned that she might at some point come up here. I think they have some additional software that's come up on how they kind of go through some of the process. And
Pictometry, yeah.
she thought it might be helpful for us to take a look at it. Or perhaps we could just schedule something where rather than unannounced that we go down there and that might be an easier way to just take a look at it. So that's maybe you can visit with her about that, and not necessarily in the next few weeks because we're pretty busy, but somewhere a month or two from now we could do that. Also, the EDC is having a meeting at Waltz Campground, and that was something that I did reply to that I would attend. And that's this evening. And so that's all I have. We do not have any petitions. We do not have any proclamations. This would be a time for public comment. If anyone had a comment they would like to make, and as always, we need your name and address, and then briefly what your comment or concern or question would be. We do not have any public comments, and so we're going to go ahead and move on to the next item. That's our report from county officers, and Janelle Dockendorf, our county administrator, will have your report.
Commissioners, the city of Abilene had contacted us to request a letter of support for a base grant application that they're applying for. We had worked with the city last year about applying for base monies when the program opened up, and they have decided to narrow down the scope of their project and just concentrate on the lots that they own there off of 14th Street, which would be to the east of Russell Stovers, and get them shovel ready. So they're just asking for a letter of support that the county would be in favor of the project. So we've done that. Also, some of the things that our county staff is working on, they're almost completed with the bridge on 3400 Avenue. This is in the 1300 block. The stringers are on and they're working on that. We also had a guardrail that was damaged on 1700 Avenue, and it has been repaired. It was pretty extensive damage. I don't have the total cost yet, but we'll submit an invoice to have the insurance company reimburse us for that. Also wanted to let you know that they are working on trimming trees on Union Road near the lake. So that's being completed, and we rented the forestry cutter and we've used that before. So, and that seems to help a lot. It goes a lot quicker, that's for sure. Also, we are hauling rock for the upcoming shoulder project on Old 40 to the east of Chapman, and we're storing that at the landfill. I got word back from Senator Clays that the sales tax question that we asked him to introduce has been introduced, and we now have a Senate Bill 127. So we're working through that process. We'll ask for a hearing, and then we can start moving forward with that so we can get a ballot on the question for our public safety communication, our public safety projects. So, and then Diane also submitted her staffing reports for the month as well. So that's all I would have. I see Craig has a question.
Yeah, the public safety is fairly broad. Are we going to have to tighten that down any, or is it just because public safety to me means a lot of things.
It does mean a lot of things, and that's how we put it in the bill, but it is specific to the communications project.
Okay.
But we could also use money if we have any additional monies left from the sales tax project for our rescue trucks, to set money aside for that. And if you recall, we have 2 rescue trucks in the county, one that's stationed in Abilene and one that's in Harrington. We received Homeland Security money for those to replace them, and that's $350,000 when that happened several years ago for that. And then both of those cities, since they're managing them, they take care of the insurance on them and the upgrades or upkeep, maintenance, that kind of stuff on them. So, but we help purchase them. So.
And another question I'm going to ask is the Harrington and Solomon project we've got going with the school districts, with the staff.
I haven't had an update on that for a while, so I need to follow up on that. I'm surprised. Yes, I'll follow up on that. I haven't seen where they're at with that. So I know that they had broken ground over here. I'm not sure down in Harrington if they had yet. Last I heard, so I'll find out.
Also, then the same deal. I know that it doesn't affect us or anything. Did they ever find out what unsuitable soil they hit with the Solomon School District when they were putting their addition on?
Didn't hear what that was. So I think I believe they've got it worked out, but I'm not.
I mean, it didn't affect us or anything, but it's.
I think it's progressing. You know, they had a situation with some water damage over there.
Mm-hmm. They hit a line that they weren't expecting.
Well, they had some freezing pipes actually.
Oh, okay.
And so they're replacing their gymnasium floor, and there was extensive damage throughout. But one of the things is some of the damaged area is actually going to help them tie into the new building as far as the flooring and all that. And since it was damaged, so they're
More seamless.
yes. So anyway, so I know they've got a lot on their plate, but the question I had, and you know, on the guardrails, and I know it wasn't weather related, because you see a lot of damaged guardrails with all the freezing and sliding that took place on some of the highways and interstate and so on. But you know, obviously those things need to be repaired as quickly as possible, because it's a safety feature. But is that something that we keep some of those on hand, or is that something we have to bid out quickly?
They do keep them on hand because we've had guardrails, hit before. So, and Martin tries to keep some in stock, it's kind of hard.
I'm sure all are fitted for certain
Exactly.
situations, but I just,
Yeah. And we want the collapsing one. I know there's different terminology for it, but
it's a safety feature, so it's not alarm impelled or not as extensive damage.
In fact, so when you hit a
right.
sort of team.
It's not driving through the
Mhm.
front of the car or vehicle. So
So that's readily available though. And then, so the repair, that's probably a Martin question, but maybe you can let us know next week
I will.
when it will get repaired or.
It has been repaired.
It is.
It is repaired, yes. I just don't have the cost, what the materials and the labor was yet. I haven't seen that invoice yet because I'll have to send it down to the,
Okay.
City Harrington will be picking up the tab.
yes.
For their insurance or such. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? We'll go ahead and move on then. If you were through, Janelle.
I am through.
Doug?
Thank you. We're working on the tax sale, of course, and April 5th is the date when we will appear in front of the court. And so we have been sending out summonses, and the sheriff's department's done a good job of serving those. In addition to that, we've done out-of-state notices and notice in the newspaper. And so we're moving forward with that. And that's the project we're working on.
Out of state, do you have to get a letter back from them? They've got received?
Well, we have to send certified mail to them, and they either have signed for it or they didn't, but we've sent that to them.
In other words, if you don't get it, if it's not return signed, then you can go ahead and proceed or?
Yes,
Okay, I'm wondering what the procedure was.
Yeah. and that's why we've also done the publications, so they can't, so I don't live there anymore.
Yeah.
So that we've done publications and then direct mailings where we have an address to them. Mhm. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Okay. Notices and communications, we've received from Postalocity, a calendar. We've received a couple of magazines from Ingram's, which is more of a business magazine for the Kansas City area. And sometimes they do have articles that about other places in Missouri and Kansas. And then we also have the county news that we've received. And I've got two of them, so probably one of these is either Ron's or Craig's. And so we'll get that for your review and reading. That's pretty much all I have. Were there any other communications that anyone received?
Nothing on the computer, Lynn.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead and move on to resolutions. The first one is a resolution for the 020223 comp plan. And Hamilton had been in here to go over that. Should the update say 2023? I know the work was done in 2022, but since we're approving it in 2023, if it should, we can make that
Right. No,
correction on there, but if that's the proper
that is,
description.
I did double check with Tim on that. So,
Okay.
yes.
And the public hearing was held back on December 15th, 2022. It also had been published. And so all of that portion has been taken care of. So we just need to go ahead and adopt the resolution 020223.
I move to approve the resolution 020223.
Okay.
I'll second it, but I would like to, give a little explanation of what it involves.
So we do have the motion in the second. So discussion then or questions answered.
So Tim set up a steering committee to update the comprehensive plan that was originally adopted back in 2007. And there was a committee that was established then, and we worked with Kansas State University to help draft that. The steering committee, this current steering committee, which included Commissioner Roller and a couple of people from the county, reviewed terminology that was listed in the comp plan. There wasn't There weren't significant changes to the comprehensive plan. It was just more tweaking of some of the language. And like Tim had said earlier in the study session, this is actually two plans. It's the comprehensive plan, but it's also an economic development analysis of the county. So we updated the statistics, we updated the maps, we updated, like I said, some of the verbiage in there, cleaned it up a little bit, made it a little bit clearer. Since this occurred during the COVID years, we also, instead of having public meetings with that, we issued a survey, and Tim had a response of 200 people that took the time to share their thoughts on the county and the resources that we have in the county and what we were looking for there. So, and he will post the comprehensive plan, the appendixes, the maps, the fire districts, school districts, that kind of information that was included in this, that will be posted on the county website. And then we'll have plans available. If somebody requests them, they can access them easily. So did that answer your? Okay.
Good for me.
Okay.
And I think one of the things that came up in the discussion, because we will be able to look at it online, but we'll have a printed copy. So if there's something that we have a question on or clarification
Right.
or correction, we can always revisit it and amend anything that needs to be corrected or
Right.
addressed.
It's a fluid document. So if we need to make a change on that, we certainly can do that.
Any other questions? We've had the motion and the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We do not have any unfinished business under other business. The refuse collector's license for 2023. And we have copies of those and the applications. So those can be signed on behalf of the commission. Do you have any other comments on that, Janelle, or?
No, this is just an annual housekeeping matter, and the license is issued to, like, for instance, the City of Enterprise, to the different waste management companies that collect trash, and it's based on the number of vehicles that they let our environmental services know we'll be collecting trash in the county. So, and the fee is $50 a vehicle.
Okay.
I just have a question. And
Yes.
if somebody comes in the middle of the year, do they pay the
They would,
or prorate it?
Mhm.
Okay. I'll make a motion we approve the refuge contract.
I'll second it.
We have the motion and the second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. We have the contract services for SD Security. Janelle?
so we've had an agreement with SD Security to provide 2 staff that have been certified. And they've provided security for the courthouse for the year, and it's time for the renewal of this. We did have a small change in the agreement, and that is the cost per hour. It's gone from $25 per hour to $26.50 per employee. And they provide services, and they provide quite a few services for us, make sure I get the right list here and tell you what they do. They man the, oh, now it escapes me. Man the front entrance, run them through the metal detector. They escort people to the treasurer's office if need be. They are on hand if we have somebody that causes a ruckus. They're a phone call away. They're actually go above and beyond a lot of times for the security that they provide. So we do appreciate that. So, and recommend that we would go ahead and approve signing the contract for another year.
And
So
if-
moved. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. You got the motion?
I'll second it.
You got the motion second. So if someone, by mistake, they bring something and they have a check-in locker.
They do have a, mhm,
So if someone has a concealed carry, for example, they could
right.
check that in, come in the courthouse, do their business, or they have the choice. They could go back to their vehicle and
Correct.
take care of it that way. And I know one time I was here and someone happened to walk in through an exit door and they observed it on the camera. And, so they went ahead and met them in the hallway and explained they needed to go through the proper security for it. And so like you say, they go above and beyond and very alert, but also very courteous, I think, because that's what people expect. And lots of places, I know when we're down at Topeka, we went through a security type procedure. So that's just kind of a standard anymore for many buildings. Okay, we have the motion and second. Any other question, comment? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We do not have anything else other than before we adjourn, we do have an executive session. This is for non-elected personnel and it will include our county administrator, Janelle and Doug, and the commissioners, and that will be for 5 minutes. I would move that we have the executive session for 5 minutes, starting at 11:22. It'll be for 5 minutes. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
We have the motion and the second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. We'll adjourn so we can go into executive session at It's 11:27. I would go ahead and make the motion that we return to regular session from our executive session.
I'll second it.
We have the motion and the second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Executive session include discussion regarding non-elected personnel and informational that we needed to hear. There's no further action to be taken. Any other comments before we adjourn?
You might mention the fact we're going to be meeting on Wednesday next week.
Okay, yes, we will meet Wednesday next week on February 9th, which is our regular meeting date. Several of us will be in Topeka for Capitol Day. And so there's no meeting next Thursday. And so in lieu of that, we're going to meet on February 8th at 11 a.m. here. There's no work study session. So we'll probably show up 5-10 minutes before then and then have our meeting at 11 o'clock. And that's all the information that we have on that for right now.
You might mention Kathy will be interviewing us as a board.
Oh, what time is that going to be?
It's going to be after, Friday.
Right afterwards?
Yeah. She's gone.
She's gone, yeah.
I'll show up beforehand. No. Okay, yes. And there was a article regarding the meeting we had the previous week as far as some of the activities and potential activities as far as the windmill or turbines that are being considered for the south part of the county. And I understand some people have been notified, residents and so on. And so Kathy is doing an article, an informational article to ask the commissioners questions and get some thoughts from us on that. So that's going to be taking place next Wednesday. There's nothing further. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second
We
it.
have the motion and second to adjourn. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned.